TogiNet Radio has partnered with one of the largest travel booking engines in the world to offer savings of 15 to 30% or even more. I give you the opportunity to go look at their hotel fees and take advantage of their cost savings. Please go to www.bestradiotravel.com. Check them out. I think you'll be pleased.
Welcome to Second Wind with Joyce Buford, a program for and about women. Joyce Buford is a certified coach and motivational speaker who has a passion for helping women who need a second wind. She is the author of the Amazon bestseller, Effortless Happiness, How to Find Your Voice and Finally Ask for What You Really Want. She studied directly with her mentor, Jack Canfield, and is a fully certified coach in his program. Also, she has served as an assistant in his training programs. Through her study with many prestigious coaches and mentors, she has created a powerful program that has positively impacted thousands of people. On today's program, Joyce and her guests will help you to get your second wind. Now here's your host, Joyce Buford.
Welcome. I love that we're here again, talking and visiting. And like other times, we have a fabulous guest that you're going to really enjoy as she shares her journey about health. We all need a little more health, don't you think? I know I do. I think I'm doing really good. I'm watching my diet. I've started doing walking again. And then all of a sudden I have a conversation with somebody who's really knowledgeable, like my dear friend Nicole. And I go, oh, wait a minute. I think I'm a little behind the game here. So it's going to be a wonderful refresher to visit with our guest today, Nicole Andrews, and have her share her wonderful program that she has and the advice that she can give us. Now, you know, Second Wind was created to help that woman that's in transition. And so we're always in transition. We as women are always in transition. It seems far more than maybe even men are. But you know, it's always good. We keep growing, we keep moving forward, and we keep learning. And so that makes our lives richer and better because we can take in new information, adapt it, pull it into our lives, and start using it. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest today, Nicole. We're actually old friends, and we were trying to decide how old we are. Maybe 3 years, maybe. I don't think I'd quite convinced Nicole of that. But anyway, let me tell you about this marvelous woman that we're going to be talking with today. She is a grateful mother of 2 children. And she's a registered dietitian nutritionist practicing functional nutritional therapy since 2003. She graduated from Florida International University and studied functional nutrition at the University of Miami's Miller School of Medicine. She holds multiple certificates, including psychology of eating, functional nutrition, certified gluten practitioner, yoga therapy, and more. She wholeheartedly believes in the mind-body approach to healing and living your best life. Having a passion for health and the in-depth insight into what makes body work, our body work, Nicole is here to help us achieve the life that we all want to live, one that's healthy and prosperous and serving us. So anyway, Nicole, thank you for coming. We welcome you with open arms.
Thank you. That was such a great introduction. I was like, wow, I didn't really realize it's been a long time. It's come a long way when you hear it again and again sent like that. But thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'd say you are pretty committed to health, body health. It's always been a
Yes.
passion, even in your younger years.
Yes, it actually was. I remember getting the magazine Prevention, and I was in my major at FIU was actually international business and marketing. And I started thinking, I was going through some digestive issues at the time. Like, nobody looks at your poop when you're younger. Now we do, but like then it was like a non-issue. Especially I was raised by my grandparents, so they're like, I'm not there. There's no way they would do that. But I was constipated as a child growing up, and
Yeah.
it was like little tiny, not to be gross or anything. This is what I talk about, turtle turds. And I was really, by the time I was in my early 20s, I was completely IBS constipation type, and I had small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And I started arguing with the gastroenterologist that I was doing rounds with at the hospital, and they are so in the conventional mind that they're like, no, Nicole, it can't be gluten. And I said, I feel like you're not looking at a lot of the new research. And, they couldn't believe that I would say that. It's just like I didn't have any filter. And then eventually, they came around like 10 years later. He's like, oh, you're right about that gluten thing. But and to make a long story short, I switched my major to functional, to nutrition, dietetics, and then functional nutrition. And then, so it all kind of metamorphosed from there, and that's why I'm so passionate about this, because that wasn't the only issue I'd overcome. It was then anxiety and migraines, and then infertility, unexplained infertility. I was healthy, 28-year-old at the time, and I couldn't get pregnant. And so then I started diving into the world of detox. That's what kind of brought me full circle. Yeah. And went into what I currently offer. But yes, it started there.
Yes. I am amazed with the digestion issues that so many people have now. It is like an epidemic. I know it can start very early. I feel like I spent most of my life with constipation, but people back then when we're younger, they just say, oh, you're going to outgrow it. You're going to outgrow it. Right. And, it didn't work, but, there always seems to be some issue with our digestion system.
Yes.
I'm amazed at the people that have irritation and just violent reactions.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those most prevalent common conditions, especially nowadays with the gluten, and that's what's being changed drastically in the GMO, of course, but in order to grow the wheat, and for the mass amount of people that the government thinks that we need to feed with all of this modification, is that they start chopping it and hybridizing it, and then it changes the molecular structure of it, and then they put something called glyphosate on it, which changes it even more. And by the time it ends up in our system, it's a foreign molecule, and more people are becoming intolerant to gluten, and it's not necessarily celiac disease, it's non-celiac gluten intolerance. And it's one of the foods that after the detox is over, the detox phase, when we talk about reintroduction and all these things, is that I wouldn't recommend introducing that again, because, in Europe, they don't allow the wheat fields to be chopped down to these little matchsticks, compared to it being huge and blowing in the wind. But I think that's a main cause of GI issues, and now we know the FODMAP foods are also a great tool when it comes to digestive issues. But most people have gut irritation from toxins in our environment that wear it down, and medications and stress and all these things, nutrient deficiency, that it kind of wears our gut lining down like a rake, if you can picture it like that. And then that's when autoimmunity can develop, is that if this intestinal permeability is is enough to where these big proteins seep through, then it's a potential setup for autoimmune conditions. So that's why the gut lining is first and foremost when it comes to building and restoring your health and making your health vibrant, like we want it, that we can do the things we love to do.
Well, I actually, from time to time over my life, I've always dealt with the weight issue, and the tummy and all of that. And so I've always carried a little extra weight, and I've lost extra weight, and then it comes back, and it's like a dance I'm doing. But it was a couple years ago when I visited a doctor here to help me again go through the diet process. He had actually taken, he was I forget what area he was in, but he was in the medical area, and he had taken his family to live in Denmark, I believe. And they must have stayed there for 10 years. And they have since moved back to Tyler. But I know just in our visiting that they still get their flour from Europe because they and would that, just getting the flour and being off of that, what would that do to a person here that has like gluten issues and other digestion?
Well, if I ate it, because I'm one of those people, I would still be sick, because if it's organic and it's not altered, then technically, like, there are people that don't have an issue with it, but those people that do indulge in it, it can, if there's a nutrient deficiency or like a traumatic event or something, it can always get triggered to where the flour that you're eating, that starts to kind of react to your body. Like I wasn't born with non-celiac gluten intolerance, but over the years I've had it triggered so that, I grew up on pierogies and why are you like the sweet tea? Because my grandparents were Lithuanian, and there was always a dessert in the house, and it was always potato or flour, and I just eventually became so sick on it. And then the more you avoid it, that's why the elimination diet is so important, because the more that you avoid it, and then when you reintroduce it, you can really see the difference. And I always tell people it's not just a physical difference, it's the emotional. It could be sleep, it could be foggy brain, and that sometimes, we discount those food reactions when it's not necessarily like it doesn't affect us that much. But that's why on the phase 3, when you're reintroducing and refreshing, some people don't even reintroduce foods because they feel so good. Like I just had a program and one of the ladies was saying she feels so good she doesn't want to reintroduce anything. And I just did I do a live session every week during the program. And I was saying on the last call, I introduced ice cream because I went out with my kids and I had some of this ice. I said, well, I guess I'm reintroducing dairy and I don't necessarily recommend it. And I take my digestive enzyme with it and everything, but just to see what happened. Well, the next day I woke up with like a layer of phlegm and low energy, and I didn't really think about it. It wouldn't have bothered me had I not done the detox part of it and gotten my inflammation so low that I woke up and was able to tell like it was a toxic food trigger. So people don't realize how, we don't realize how inflamed we are until we get the inflammation down, and then something can trigger it again. That's right. That you notice. So, yeah. Right.
Well, I had the benefit of doing something similar to yours last year, where I did do just as you do in your program, eliminate everything. And I felt like a petri dish. I mean, we emptied everything out and went down to the basics, very basic. And I was amazed, Nicole, at how the different foods that I would eat, we'd introduce one every week. And I was just amazed at my body, how it did make me feel. I mean, I was stunned.
What did you react to? Did you have any reactions to certain particular foods that stood out?
Yeah. Why are they always your favorites?
I know,
really.
Right? That happened to me with almonds for a while.
Dairy. I love cheese. I could feel, I noticed that difference. Almonds, but I don't eat just a few almonds. I eat handfuls of almonds, so I'm a little over aggressive there.
Yeah.
I already know I have a gluten reaction, not as bad as some people do, but I can feel it in my joints. My right hand starts to ache, that hand. And so...
Oh, wow, that's a good telltale sign.
Oh, yeah. But so anyway, it was just amazing. So I'm so excited that you're going to talk about your detox program, because I definitely experienced the going through and eliminating everything like you do and then reintroducing it. But before we go into detox, can you tell me what detox is and why it's so good for us to do?
Of course. I know. It's funny. That wasn't even a question 50 years ago. People didn't do detox. And then when we started introducing, GMO and lots of different things on our food supply changes drastically, and pollution and how we rid the chemicals, whether it's in the ocean that we're swimming in or whether it's in the air that we're breathing. There's been enormous amount of pollution that's been sent off in our planet just in the past 50 years. And so certain people have a high ability to detox on their own. Certain people have moderate and not so good. So I'm one of those people I'm not a great detoxifier. So I think regardless of whether you are or you aren't, the symptoms that start to exhibit are things like belly aches or constipation, diarrhea, low energy levels, inability to lose weight, foggy head, joint pain, and muscle aches, probably the biggest thing that I see improvement on. And the cool thing is that I have the detox questionnaire beforehand that you would fill out. And then at the end, you take the same survey and you see the improvements in not only systems, but an overall score. So it's very tangible. And we've just seen some great improvements this pre-holiday detox that just ended. And particularly in the head, in the joints, and also the gut. But it's such a needed thing because we don't all, sometimes what happens is these toxins become too much for our system, even if it's something we're putting on our body, right? Because detox is what we put in our body, what we put on our body, and what we do with our body. And so those three things are really important. And if we're putting on ingredients that have been a known carcinogen or even connected to endocrine disruption, then your skin is your largest organ. So your toxic load, in other words, of whatever it is that you're doing and eating can only take so much before it starts to overflow, like an overflowing sink. And you can't fix the plumbing problem until, the water stops running. And that's sort of how we start to exhibit these symptoms of toxicity. And a lot of times they're symptoms of inflammation. That's really what it is like you're achy, you don't feel good, you're tired, and you have brain fog. And these are some things that the complete detox helps turn around. And in a 28-day program. So it's not like that get rich quick, lose weight fast.
Yeah.
It's like, there's so much great information, and I'm so excited about this program because not only am I in it each time, 3 times a year, before, after the holidays, and then before summer when everybody wants to kind of lose a few before bikini season, and or whatever you wear. Like I like one pieces too.
I am not in the bikini. I've never been in a bikini.
I like one piece. I mean, I go on with my long sleeve sun shirt. Now I'm afraid of the sun. It's like what happens when you get older. Trade the bikini in for a sun shirt.
So if you offer your program 3 times and you've just completed it, what are the seasons where you normally offer it?
So the next open date, and it's all on my website, livingfresh.org, and then the detox page is just livingfresh.org/thecompletedetox. And the next one starts January 15th, but the sign-up date ends January 6th. And so I know we're going to have a great group in there because everybody wants to holiday fun, because that's another great thing about the program is I like to have fun just like my neighbor, just like my clients do,
Yeah.
But I know what that when it's time, what to do and how to help our bodies effectively get rid of things so that we don't have to face that toxic overload feeling all the time. And the idea is the more you do it, because it's a community of people. We have a Facebook group that's private. It's closed only to the people that have done the program. And everybody posts pictures of what they're eating and how they're feeling. And there's a little prompt in each daily email of what to post today. So you don't have to be so creative unless you want to. But it's just a nice community. And I do a live Zoom coaching call every week for every phase. And then there's also one-on-one available. So if somebody wants to talk to me on the phone every week, I also can hand somebody, because it's a scary word, is detox. I thought about changing the name 10 times over because I'm like, oh my gosh, detox. Everyone's so like, detox, no thanks, I'm good, but a lot of people, don't you think? What do you think, Joyce?
Well, detox means there's more than one way to detox, isn't there?
So true.
I mean, most of us think of eating nothing or drinking this horrible stuff.
What do you think of? You think of like juice fast?
Yeah. I don't know exactly what detox, how you do it, actually.
So there's this system in our liver, and it's actually called the cytochrome P450 system, and it's basically how we detox and how efficiently we detox. So if we have toxins coming in, they go through that system in our liver, come out as water-soluble compounds, and then we excrete them through sweat or urine or feces. But if your toxic load is so high, there's certain things that you need to do to help your body eliminate these, because you're not as efficient as eliminating toxins on your own sometimes if there's this overload. So that's basically.
So what do you use for detoxing? Is it a drink or is it a?
The system is basically the first phase is a elimination diet. So you start to slowly lower intake, and it gives you a week to just prepare for this. So, everybody thinks they have to be ready like day one, like to just jump into it. No, part of this mind-body detox, the complete detox, is also becoming more aware of our thoughts and our actions. So with each email, not only is there a dietary prompt, but a mantra to choose, and also something to, think about and write about in terms of a journaling activity.
Oh, nice.
And it oftentimes has to do with whatever we're doing with the action plan for that day. So it's kind of, there's a lot that you could choose from, but it is the first phase is the elimination diet. It's prepare phase. So start to incorporate And the great thing about this program is convenience is optimal, because with 2 small children, I couldn't do it if it wasn't convenient. So I have a long list of resources and things that are complete detox friendly. And it makes it a lot more doable. And so you're still eating, you're not fasting, but you're avoiding certain foods that can create inflammation. So since our body gets, and we've had such great results with, just like you said, this elimination diet, then you start the detox supplements, which I get it's a 28-day program from a pharmaceutical grade nutrient company that goes along with the program. So week 1 is prepare, and you basically take a packet in the morning and the evening, and weeks 2 and 3 are detox days. So we talk all about, you're still on the elimination diet, but what else do we do? What else can we incorporate into our routine that will help with this process, or what else can we not do? Because we're so busy doing.
Right.
What can we let go of and just relax and let ourselves be and heal? And then the third phase is reintroduce and refresh. So we're talking about identifying those toxic food triggers or toxic people in our life. And then phase 4 is moving forward. So I talk a lot about nutrient testing, what to eat moving forward, and the importance of quarterly detox and being a part of the Living Fresh community. That's what it's all about.
Right.
It takes a village, Joyce. You know that.
It takes a village. Well, you know what? Community is key in people making changes. They have to hang out with those people that think the way they do, that have a common mission. That's what makes it so tough for that person that wants to break a habit. They hang out with the wrong crowd. And so it's imperative they hang out with the right crowd to make their success easier. So I'm big about that. I think as I've grown as a coach, I really get the importance of that community. And it means sometimes you have to go to the internet to find it. So anyway, we're going to take a short break here so that we can come back and talk more about how people can find you, and also some other things about detoxing that I think are just fascinating and really opening my mind to the possibility of joining you in January so I can detox. Yay!
All right. I like it.
So we are going to break. We'll be back shortly to talk
See you soon.
with Nicole.
Motivational speaker and author Joyce Buford returns after this short break. Close your eyes and imagine living your life without limits. Where would you go? Who would you meet? What would you do? During an Uncover Your Hidden Genius session, you will discover what's keeping you from living your life with purpose, passion, and fulfillment of your potential. You'll get a clear vision of the steps you need to take to uncover your hidden genius so that you can live a life without limits. Sessions can be done over the phone, Skype, or in person. Find out more at www.joycebufordempowers.com or by calling 903-287-0747.
TogiNet Radio has partnered with one of the largest travel booking engines in the world to offer savings of 15 to 30% or more on hotel booking fees through our own web portal, www.bestradiotravel.com. Discover the discount you can receive by going to bestradiotravel.com/Joyce, Joyce, to see for yourself. This is a custom booking site for the listeners of my show through TogiNet Radio. We have negotiated special rates at over 650,000 hotels worldwide to save our customers money. Our members leverage our massive buying power to save thousands of dollars by booking with us. bestradiotravel.com can beat the best prices offered by any other major travel booking website. Please go to bestradiotravel.com/Joyce, sign up, and enjoy the discounts. This is bestradiotravel.com/Joyce, Joyce.
Welcome back to this segment of Second Wind. Joyce Buford, the author of Effortless Happiness, continues in this segment to share insights that will help you live a life of greater purpose and filled with happiness. Now here's our host, author and coach, Joyce Buford.
Welcome back. I know that you're here because you have enjoyed the first half of our show today with Nicole Andrews. Isn't she amazing? She just knows so much about the body. I am in awe of how she has progressed with this wonderful program, how important detoxing is. I even got that message. It's pretty clear. I've heard about it for years. I've sort of avoided it for years, not because it just didn't sound like fun to me. And since I'm one of those people that's always working on the weight, always doing that, not really stepping up for the maintenance of my temple here that I live in, it's sort of been a challenge for me at times. But as I age, I tend to see, I'm much more aware of the effects on my body. And I think I could have been aware of the inflammation in my hands, the bulging of my tummy after eating certain products, like nuts, which have a reaction, the taste of the cheese, how it creates mucus in your body. I'm aware of those now, it seems, and I don't know if it's because it's so much more prevalent or we've changed, our food source has changed. I mean, what is it that's affecting us, our bodies, more and more?
That's such a good question, Joyce. I feel like it's like going back to one of the things I talked about is toxic load. And so sometimes, like, it's like the overflowing sink. It's like you can't necessarily fix it until it stops running, and your body just keeps getting these toxins in. And sometimes, you're strong and you're able to deal with them. And so it's twofold. Either you deal with the toxins. You start to have symptoms because of your toxic load. Maybe your cytochrome P450 systems are backed up and you're just kind of in overload and these symptoms are just starting to arise. Or, you have those are your toxic food triggers too, maybe that are causing that. And the leaky gut is associated with that because, when things start to kind of break down, not everything's digested anymore. Yeah. And so our gut needs a little bit of help in that sense. So I think that a lot of things are causing the breakdown in our bodies. And I think this is a great program to be able to do quarterly to kind of give you that pickup and that refresh that you're looking for and the community that can support that. Because everybody has their own system of how fast they want to take it. Maybe some people do 90% of the program and some people are just doing a few changes, and that's great. I think it's not an all or nothing program. It's not a scary thing. It's just really about it's slow and steady wins the race. And on the first day you get your emails prior to the weekend, before we start, you get all of your food lists, your grocery list, your meal plan ideas, and you have everything at your fingertips, your resources, so that it makes it easier for you to do. Now, however, we don't always, who's perfect in this world? Nobody.
Right.
Even though there's technically no caffeine. I mean, I've had nurses that are up all night and they say, Nicole, I have to, so they go from maybe 6 cups to maybe a half a cup. And that's okay because your body's working in its own pace. And then every time you go through the program, you do a little bit more, and it you build on it instead of it being like a pass or fail.
Right.
It's just more motivational in terms of wherever you're at, making these changes, and feeling good at the same time.
Yeah. I have a question. I went through breast cancer 2 years ago, and I'm wondering, and maybe you can give me some insight. I was very lucky. My exposure was minimal, so I consider myself very blessed. But I'm wondering, is there a way of knowing, this is probably just a crazy question, but is there a way of knowing if it comes from stress or if it comes from the detoxing, the body carrying all the toxins in it? Is it all of the above?
That what causes what?
Causes disease, the increase of disease, the growth of like cancer and other things.
We all have DNA that's constantly forming in our body, and our cells are changing every 90 days, and it's all a matter of what we put in our body and what we put on our body, like I said. And then you have your genetics and your, I always say genetics is the loaded gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So you're not really going, you're not going to exhibit, if you have a healthier lifestyle, you might not exhibit those things until your 80s or 90s, or you may never, depending on how, well you do with your temple, as you say. It's true, and sometimes, but with all these crazy diets out there, it's really just about, I believe, understanding the body, making changes at your own pace, and being consistent, and things start to come into place and stay there a lot better than, when you're just doing something like a keto diet. You're just jumping on something and you're kind of grasping at straws and reaching for different things. So, sorry, there's a plane going by. It's one of the things about.
Well, I've taken because I know I've got inflammation. I know I have tummy issues of the constipation. So I take this for constipation. I take this for inflammation. Is that the way to really attack if you have conditions in your body? Or am I just being like a Band-Aid approach here?
That's an excellent question. I think that it's more of a Band-Aid approach in the sense that it's like if you have a headache, you take an aspirin instead of laying down and providing your body what it actually really is asking. I mean, not all the time can we lay down. Let's face it, life happens and we have to pick up our kids or have a meeting. And, so sometimes that I understand that completely, and I'm sensitive to that for sure. But it's more of like a mind-body approach in the sense that if you're taking turmeric or curcumin activated for inflammation, and then you have a Diet Coke with your salad or, cheeseburger, it's like it doesn't work like a medication. So supplements work with lifestyle changes, and they take longer, but it's manageable, and there's ways to do it. But sometimes, too, the over-the-counter supplements are not necessarily – they're not regulated by the FDA. So that's the thing that you have to be careful with. And I have some clients that, I found the exact brand that you recommended, but it's on Amazon. And there was the whole write-up, and I did a blog on it. It's on my website about why you shouldn't buy supplements on Amazon. I mean, I love Amazon Prime. I'm like a big Prime member. I mean, no harm. I love it. But it's just not great for supplements because, say, Numedica was one of my companies that I really like using, or even Metagenics. They would sell the batches that don't necessarily pass to places like Amazon because the strength and quality at which the supplements are at are recommended to be recommended by a health professional. So that's the difference in taking something that's over the counter, because you can get your levels checked. The Fresh Foundation program actually is, there's an initial visit, talk about what's going on with you, and then there's a kit that comes to you, or it's at your local lab, any lab test now place, and I order the blood work. We look at all your levels, including, anything cardiometabolic, hormones, thyroid, and your nutrient levels. And that sometimes, is important, because I believe it's important twice a year, really. It took me 5 years to get my nutrients balanced and taking pharmaceutical supplements. So it's never a quick process. And I think we've come full circle in saying that it's just one of those things that you're committed to. And a lot of my clients, they're doing their functional lab with me instead of their doctor, or they're doing both, and they just bring my results to their physician. And some care and some don't, like, oh, this is great, but it's just not necessarily their field because it's a little bit more in depth for that. But I feel like it's a great test to be able to, nowadays with the technology we have, to customize our nutrient needs to us as individuals, because our genes are different, our needs are different, our stresses are different. So our supplement regimens are going to be different.
Right. So they can go on your website, and that's under your programs?
Sure. I believe it's under services, or it's under programs, so it's one of those.
Oh, okay.
And it's on livingfresh.org.
Okay. Now, you also have, as a sort of a gift or a giveaway or freebie, a 3-day mini cleanse that's offered on your website, right?
So that's on the website. It's basically the three top foods that lower inflammation, and some recipes included in that. And it's on there, I believe, on the main page.
Oh, okay.
And then there's also... Yeah, so if you scroll down on the main page, there's also a gluten-free whole foods shopping list, a gluten questionnaire, intolerance questionnaire. So what we were talking about gluten, some people can just go to the questionnaire and download it and see if they're possibly intolerant to gluten as well. Because again, there's really no test for non-celiac gluten intolerance. It's just kind of it's a pretty objective in that sense, but that's on there. It's in the shopping list. And then How Toxic Are You quiz, I believe, is on there too. So that's pretty interesting to see your toxicity score as well.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Maybe you could clear up this for me, because this was kind of added as a confusion to me. I was at a local farm market, and this lady was selling sourdough bread, and I was saying, well, I can't have this because I'm gluten free, and she was saying something about, because it was sourdough, it doesn't affect me. Yes. A
lot of people, right. It's probably like the better bread to eat if you're not gluten intolerant. But again, it does have the gluten protein in it, but because it's fermented, it has less of it in it than, say, a piece of bread, comparable to a piece of wheat bread. So the less, probably looking at like 60% less gluten than a piece of regular bread. So, but there's still gluten in it. It's just that because there's less, there might be less of a issue with it. Yeah. Either way, when people can tolerate gluten, even after the detox, like my husband's one of them. He's been avoiding bread for so long, and someone brought over like a huge challah bread or something each day. It was like this enormous thing, and he ate like at work. He ate like half of it, and I said, "Wow, that's an interesting thing to incorporate right after your detox." Like, yeah. That gluten, the one thing I say, like, just to be careful with, out of all things, I go, let me know how you do with that. He was like a mess. He's like, oh, I'm not going to eat it again. That was terrible. Apparently he didn't feel too good.
Oh, I bet. Oh, I bet he was asking himself, why did I do that? I knew better.
Yeah.
I knew better.
And when you detox, like when you're introducing that, it's like hits you hard. You'll know if it's a problem or not. You know, your ears will start itching, or when I have corn, like my inner calf starts itching that night. Like it takes a couple hours to set in, and there's nothing there, right? But it just itches like crazy. It's like, oh, I can't have corn.
That is so interesting. And you only really get that when you do a detox, or you actually eliminate something from your diet and you're aware enough that you have eaten this, and then you can see the reaction of it. I was just amazed on this, that the body reacts so quickly. I mean, and it just...
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, is like you can go, like there's detox programs that's how I started, is I got the detox program from my chiropractor friend, and I just started getting these detox kits that were pharmaceutical grade, but you know, in a busy schedule, and you're looking at half scoop this, one this, taper off this, and this day, and this day, and I'm like, what? This is hard for even me, you know? And this is my field. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, this, it doesn't seem doable. And that's what you need to have these days, you know? So the complete detox program, it's a packet in the morning, a packet in the evening of nutrients based to support that phase of the program, and it's recipes and it's real food. In fact, that was one of the ladies' testimonial, when she said it's nice because in the past I've done detoxes that are shake based, but it wasn't until this one that I really felt like I incorporated the right food, not just something to take the place of my normal sandwich, that now I have more tools going forward, and I feel like that actually created more behavior change.
Yeah. So tell us again where my listeners can get the go to your website to sign up for your detox that will be offered in January.
Yes. So I wasn't sure whether I'm going to cap it with a certain amount of people, because it is a nice group when you get on there, and it's the private Facebook group, and everybody's kind of in the same boat. But it's livingfresh.org/thecomplete-detox. And even if you just remember livingfresh.org, it'll take you under services to the Complete Detox program, and you can read more about it there. And if you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email. I believe that's on my website as well. So if you're concerned about whether, if you're on certain medications or what's appropriate, or any concerns about doing it, or if you want to do it with your, some companies do it together as like a boost to the new year. And that's really fun too. So that's sometimes a separate group if they have enough people. So
that's a great idea.
And you want to do it. Yeah, it's really motivating. Yeah. It's motivating to make these changes. And everyone's kind of like, oh, what kind of bread did you get? Or what kind of, what do you have for lunch? It's nice.
I can see where if you were to get your own local group together, that would be awesome. Because you see each other every day. So, yeah, that's a great idea. So can people go now and sign up for the course?
So they can. It's open. Registration is open till January 6th. So it's open registration right now. And you just go to livingfresh.org/thecomplete-detox. And then on the contact me page, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a shout out. And it might be a day or two, but I'll get back to you. 2 little ones to take care of, and they have so much homework these days.
They do. Somebody was saying, I heard a few comments about homework. I don't know where I was, but just that they get so much now.
we have to get a book report, a packet, a spelling test. I mean, like, are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And make a
We're all
costume.
working toward that test.
Exactly. I know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, your children are what ages now?
So Ethan is 8 and Lucy is 6. Ethan Earl and Lucy Jean. They sound like they're from Texas, Joyce.
They are?
Ethan Earl and Lucy Jean. It has like a ring to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
They're grandparents' lineage names, so that's why we picked them. But yeah, he's in baseball and she's in gymnastics and is like a little showgirl already. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So,
but now, did you adopt, or because you said you said you had
so I
pregnancy.
had trouble getting. That's actually if we have a few minutes, I can go into that. And part of the main reason I developed this program was because I went in. I was having non-specific infertility, and nobody could figure out why. And I was getting acupuncture, and I did maybe 1 or 2 conventional treatments, and it wasn't working. And I realized I had to change my whole lifestyle. It wasn't just about the diet, and because that was the easy part for me. And that's when I thought, this complete detox, this is how I got pregnant. I had to really stop what I was doing. I was consulting at different drug alcohol treatment centers, doing home health, doing private practice, and I was driving from Hollywood to Palm Beach, and I thought, you know what, Nicole, like, you can't do this. And my acupuncturist said to me, Nicole, this is like stress to the body, and even though you're listening to music, you're driving from these miles, and you know how people drive, you have to be on. So it was I had to really let go of a lot of things, to make a long story short. And even my exercise routine had to calm down, and then for my hormones to balance out. And it was multiple detox programs, and then incorporating these journaling activities, incorporating this mind-body healing, because I went through a lot of that too at that time. So between all of that, I was just one day able to get pregnant naturally, and it just happened after 2.5 years. But it wasn't just happened. I took an active role, I feel like, in what I felt would work. And once again, conventional medicine, I don't want to say failed me, but it was evident that I wasn't going to get my answer there. And I once again had to pick up and figure this out myself and make the changes necessary in order to get what I want. Now, 10 years later, I have an 8 and a 6-year-old towheads. They're 2 little boys.
You're doing homework.
They're twins. Now we're doing homework.
Well, I really think that's a beautiful testimony, because we are kind of well, I don't know if we call our generation, probably my generation, not yours so much, but my generation is used to taking a pill for everything. And I don't believe that's really the answer anymore, because we're way past getting pills. We've gotten too many pills, so that this pill doesn't react with that pill, and that pill doesn't work for that pill. And so it's really a beautiful testimony to know that if we take care of our bodies, if we just use common sense, slow down on the stress, slow down on being on this treadmill that we think is the way to get there, we can heal our bodies. I just think that is awesome. I once had somebody tell me that if I had a headache, that was my body telling me I needed water. And she said, if you'll go in and drink water, maybe 2 glasses of water, your headache will go away. And I've never had a pill, an aspirin since then for a headache. I've had it if I had fever, but never for a headache. I just go grab a glass of water.
Right? That's so true, because that's the
working.
first sign of dehydration is a headache. And
Yes.
that's something that's really important, too, during the detox. One of the guys, and he was one that just was like, baby steps, Nicole, baby steps, And I'm like, of course. I mean, now I'm everybody's biggest cheerleader. I was like, you're doing great. But he said one of the biggest things, he got in the habit of drinking more water, and
Right.
how important he knew that was for getting rid of the things that needed to come out. Otherwise, they just go right back up and in.
Well, that's a beautiful way to stop. If we could give them nothing more than that, when they have a problem, drink water, because we don't drink water. So I thank you, Nicole. This has been so interesting. And I hope from this program that you will get several people that will think more about the importance of detox, to find those food issues that are causing our bodies pain and discomfort.
And instead of we'll welcome them with open arms.
Yes, go sign up for her complete detox program and start taking control of your life. Thank you very much for being part of this program today. It's just great to connect.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So it is my wish this week that you, one, take responsibility for yourself, drink a glass of water, 2-3 glasses of water, and go sign up for the detox program so that you can start balancing your body. You can respond to the inflammation and the other issues that are going on in your body. As usual, Second Wind is about the complete you. The woman in transition is the woman that needs detox too. So I thank you very much for being with us today. I look forward to being with you again next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Returns next week at the same time for another edition of Second Wind. Through the Joyce Buford Empowerment System, women are receiving the support they need through their transitions and are able to reclaim their true purpose with confidence. They receive the tools they need to map out new lives. You can find out more about her coaching services at joycebufordempowers.com.